This is the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for March 10th, 2026, the 414th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Two men, Emir Balat, 18, and Ibrahim Qayyumi, 19, who brought explosives to a far-right anti-Iran protest outside New York City's mayoral mansion, said they were inspired by the Islamic State extremist group. The two men were being held without bail after a court appearance on Monday. Maybe if Trump had been held by his parents and was smarter and less selfish, and who am I kidding? Three brothers, twins, Oren and Elan Alexander, age 38, and Tal Alexander, age 39, including two of the nation's most successful luxury real estate brokers, were convicted of sex trafficking Monday after a 5-week trial over accusations that they drugged and raped scores of women. Their defense was, "Oh, now you care about women." U.S. District Judge Matthew Brand has ruled in a 130-page opinion that the three U.S. attorneys running the New Jersey U.S. Attorney's Office, Philip Lamparello, Jordan Fox, and Ari Fontecchio, are disqualified from overseeing prosecutions because they were appointed unlawfully. You may not know their names, but the judge sure has their numbers. A year after Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency allies purged hundreds of thousands of federal employees, the Trump administration is ramping up hiring. A reversal that reflects a quiet retreat from one of Trump's defining early priorities and makes a new phase in efforts to reshape the bureaucracy in his image. And his image has launched 1,000 lawsuits. This has been a Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for March 10th, 2026, the 414th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as a statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections
I love
are
you, you
encouraged.
don't love me.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn,
right
good
now.
fucking and hot.
Yeah, buttons.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Just swapping at 4:30. Oh,
My dog is your mind's best friend.
I gotta answer a troll.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was telling off a troll over there. And no, I did not say his mother was a ankle. I think he knows that. I mean, look in the mirror and say, you know what? My mother was a ankle oil. Look at me. I'm not sure. Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday, March 10th. 2026. I'm dying. Yeah, I know. You've heard it before. You'll hear it again. This thing that I got. By the way, my wife did have B12 stocked up. I should have known. And it's not capsules. It's the liquid. I will tell you this about B12. I would rather eat spinach and fried eggs. That's all you need to know. Enough said. Okay, that was the show for you. Anyway, today, later on, second hour, Sarah Marshall. Well, forget about that. I'll forget. You know what? This is going to be a terrible show. And while I don't necessarily really mean that, I think I'm going to start out every show that way, just saying it's going to be a terrible show because I thought that yesterday. I think I said that yesterday. Turned out to be a pretty good show. I was a good guy, Ross Lewin. Anyway, I don't know if he's a good guy. It was a good conversation. He could be a creepy guy. I don't know. And I'm not saying he is a creepy guy. I'm just saying I don't know anything about him. Anyway, so today's going to be a terrible show. I'm going to stick with that. Sarah Marshall, not forgetting Sarah Marshall, although I'm not even going to go there because I'm already libelous enough here this morning. I see that the nicest guy, O2, is in our chat room, and he asked, yesterday I posted a Mr. Beast Reese's, something about chocolate peanut butter cups, not Reese's, but they had the grandson of the original Reese's dude. Reese's stopped using real chocolate in their Reese's peanut butter cup, and now they can't even call it chocolate anymore. Wait, I don't know. I got this email from what's it from? Vero. It's a I don't know. I must have signed up for it somewhere along the line. Monetize our videos and we'll pay you, Mr. Beast. Why would? And the question I'm answering is from the nicest guy or two. I see you're posting Mr. Beast, reposting Mr. Beast commercials or content now. Why? Why would anybody repost Mr. Beast stuff? There's only one answer to that. Think about it. Why would anybody repost Mr. Beast stuff? So he's this viral thing, which is not Mr. Beast. It's some dopey thing that sent me. They say there's a Mumford and Sons video. They give you the video. They say cut it up to minimum of 10 seconds, but keep it short. Here's the video. Cut it up any way you want, and post it and tell us where it is, and we'll pay you. Test it out. I want to see how much they pay. If they pay more than YouTube does on its own, and so I don't care. I mean, Reese's peanut butter cups, I don't want to have any allegiance to them. It's a dopey little piece of content, but the reason I posted it was to test it out to see what's this all about. They're going to pay me to just put up Mr. Whatever. If the money's good, I'll keep doing it. I have a feeling the money's going to be shit, so it's not going to be worth it. Speaking of that, another company contacted me yesterday. They wanted to know this. Am I capable of having a 2.5 hour conversation with somebody and they'll pay me? I think they said $150 to do a 2.5 hour conversation with just another person. Why? To model regular dudes or regular people having a conversation for AI. Like, I have a 2.5 hour conversation 5 days a week with a dude who hates AI. So maybe there's that, but $150. But I pick any episode. Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of them out there. Why do we have to have? Oh, you got to keep it to 4 topics. 4 topics in 2.5 hours. Now that's a different. I mean, what could we do? Anyway, I'm getting all these kind of weird little. Hey, you make money this way. I make money. I don't know if you know this about the internet, but it's bad. It goes blah blah blah. I go home. You don't love me. But I mentioned my wife has B12. Yeah, I did. Anyway, one last thing before I tell you about wine. GD's Daddy Dick Daddy, finally picked the date to come on the show. August 17th. Yeah, right? I got 2 people. Yesterday, some publicist, I want to book my author on your show. Fine, just pick a date. Can we do it in November? I guess. What I'm saying is your calendar only goes up to September. So I expanded the calendar to go 300 days out. Like, who the hell wants? Why are you booking now for a November show? Because that's when the book comes out. But Dick, GD's daddy, Dick Daddy from New Zealand, he wrote to me like a month ago. I think we should do another round. Okay, book a show. And I'm thinking he was going to book this week, next week, August 17th. I go home. You don't love me. I love you. Anyway, you probably want to know about wine. I know, because I want to know about wine too. Listen, with this thing I got, I might as well die whining out or whining like a whiner. Anyway, you want me to die on air, don't you? You really do. Thing, right? Wine Express. You know about it? WineExpress.com is the exclusive wine shop partner of the Wine Enthusiast catalog and website, which have been providing quality wine accessories and storage for 40 years. During that time, and that's got to be worthy. During that time, they've served millions of satisfied customers and built a loyal following of avid wine lovers, which Ian likes to call winos. Mr. Beast also calls them winos. It's only natural then for them to have teamed up with the Great Wine Shop to bring their customers first quality wines at value prices. Like you can get free shipping on it if you get enough of it. Just get enough of it. Have you had enough of it yet? Listen, there's a link in the description of WineExpress.com, and if you don't start clicking it soon, Mr. Beast is just going to buy this show out and just have it for his own damn self. Anyway, that's the deal. WineExpress.com. Oh, I forgot to do this. I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now, it's Mr. Fade Out. We like to call him Mr. Fade Out because I love you, you don't love me. And we're fading out now. It's the fabulous and sexy Dick Daddy's favorite, or Daddy Dick's favorite commentator and news person or something. I don't know what I'm saying. T.D. Feniston. Good morning, T.D. Look at I'm fading out.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. St. Patrick's Day is 7 days away, so fuck buying anything. But you got plenty of time to get something for Easter, so hop on over to our website, MindDogTV.com/merch, and get some of that bunny shit. And
I don't.
Check out the CD by Crack the Sky. Bless it.
I'm still fading. I didn't fade fast enough. I don't think we have any bunny shit in the merch store. It's too late for me to put bunny shit in there. I have bunny shit in the yard.
You get an apron, and if they tie it just right, it has like little ears on it.
All right.
Ears. Little ears on it.
All right, I'm down with that. I don't know. Did I mention I'm dying? I'm dying. This thing I got. I should go to a doctor, right? But no. This is going to prolong the suffering. Let's just die on air. They found a woman dead in the car around the block. Just dead in the car. That's the way I should go.
Now,
just
behind the wheel or in the trunk? That makes a difference.
In the behind the wheel, just sitting there.
Okay.
The car wasn't running. It wasn't like carbon monoxide. I don't know. It's just a mystery. I'm just gonna sit here in my car and die.
I had a friend of mine who drove to work, parked his car. No, I'm saying he didn't drive to work. He drove to the train station because he took the subway to work. So he drove to the lot, took the train or the subway, the metro, and went to work. He parked his car and had a heart attack and laid his head like that. They found him in the car later, much later, and he was just like this. So he went through the whole thing, parked the car, put it in park, took the keys out, and just died.
Probably had what I got, right? You think?
Bald
Whatever
head?
this is. Well, no, that too. But I mean, the other stuff.
I don't know how you can say you're dying when your mustache isn't dying.
My mustache is dying.
No,
it's not being dyed.
No, it's not. Oh,
it's not.
Okay, wrong tense.
But it is dying. It's turning gray and withering away.
So wrong tense. I was thinking. Okay.
Oh, the weather yesterday? For being as negative a bastard as I am, yesterday was a gift. It was a gift. It was beautiful. It was just today's only 42 right now. Ugh. But yesterday got up to 61 here. Did you have springtime yesterday?
Yeah, real spring, because I was outside planting bulbs. Now I don't know that these bulbs are going to grow, because I know that they last only so long. I bought a bunch of. How long have I been part of this show? Oh, a year or
Since
two?
1972.
Okay. I misplaced I bought a bunch of bulbs, and the ones I did not plant, I put in a box and I put in my tool shed, in my tool room, and I could not find them. I mean, it turns out they were in a box that was something else was sitting on, and I never labeled the box underneath, because I labeled all of my cartons and stuff with them, so I don't have to open them up. I never labeled this one, and I never looked inside of it. And then I finally moved what was on top of the box. I said, I wonder what's in this box. And then I found all the shit I found my gardening, my Miracle Grow. I found bags of bulbs. And I said, I don't even know that these are going to grow. I mean, because they've been just sitting in the bag for what, a year or 2 years.
You
So
know,
I
you
planted them all
waited.
yesterday. Huh?
You waited until the sound effect that went, "What's in the box?" is gone. You waited until you purposely held that
Well,
story back.
I did not take that sound effect out. So, because I like that sound effect.
What's in the box? Now,
Right.
as you said, and then oh, I'm sorry. I'm ruining everything. I'm no good. I'm sorry. I'm just blowing off steam here. I'm not ideational about anything.
Okay.
Bulbs keep. How long do bulbs keep? I thought like you had to buy them like.
See, it actually depends on the size of the bulbs, because there's nutrition inside the bulb. And the bigger it is, the longer it'll last. Like for example, a coconut can last up to about 10 years and still grow when you plant it. But grass seeds probably last a few months, and that's it.
So you say
So it
coconut.
depends on. So the larger the seed or the bulb, the longer it can last without receiving nutrition.
I'm a bad seed.
Probably, but it's not for me to say. I'll say it anyway, but not out loud.
People say bulbs all the time when they actually mean lamp. I learned that when I worked in the lighting industry. It's not a bulb. There are incandescent bulbs, but like the things that go in like spotlights, that's called a lamp, not a bulb. I didn't, and you probably don't know that, and you don't care about that. But I had
Well,
to
I
tell you
probably
that.
knew it one time and just didn't care because,
Right.
And I was humble brag. I was working for free on a TV shoot, and I was like I said, I was an intern. Well, not yet. I volunteered to work as an intern. So I was assisting the gaffer. Yeah, I was the ass gaff, and they sent me to get. He says, I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm just going to do it like he says, go get me the. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a company name. Okay, go get me the brother. He says, go get me the brother. And I'm like, okay, because I thought there's only like one brother in there. So I go to the truck and I see there's like all these cases and they're all marked brother. You know, they all have the same name. And I went, that's a fucking company name. How am I supposed to know which one to grab? So I go back in and I say to the gaffer, I said, I was sent in to get the brother. I said, but there's like 8 cases marked brother. They're not all the same thing. They're all different sizes. And he goes, yeah, they all do different things. And so I had to learn that they don't tell you which one they want. You have to know what the situation is. So when they send you in to get the brother, you have to know which brother, what the brother's going to be doing, so you know which brother to get. Took me a day to learn, because right after that, I said, okay, what's in all these boxes? And I learned what all the boxes did. So when he said, go get me the brother, I go in there and I grab the brother that was needed for that situation.
And then you said, what's in the box?
Why would I say that?
I don't know, because you were getting all the boxes and you whatever. Have you opened the retractable awning to see if it holds water?
Oh, I don't have to open it yet because it's not. It's for the sun, not for the water. I know it doesn't. I didn't get the water resistant one because I didn't want it. I'm not going to be using it in the rain. We have so much wind where I am that it would rip it right off the roof if I kept it out doing it when it was actually raining. And so far, the sun does not go directly over top of my deck. So we may have spent $6,000 for a decorative lump on the roof.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and my wife is not the happy camper.
Oh, well, I'm not fond of that happy camper thing. Is anybody really a happy camper? Campers generally happy people. I've never generally campers get the fuck out of here. They're not happy people. There's no such thing as a happy camper. Where the fuck did that thing come from?
What is wrong with your eyes, Matt?
Well, I don't know.
Because I'm looking over here and look what I found.
What's in the box?
And this.
Fucking liars!
Where did you find that?
Under sounds. Fucking liar.
Oh, it got moved up to sounds. I was looking in the background music where it used to be. Ah. That's what's wrong with my eyes. I was looking in the wrong place. What's in the box? All right.
And why is this background music? Well, nothing.
This?
I hit male angry scream and nothing happened.
Oh, because the volume's all the way down.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
Why is that background music, but this is sound?
I don't know.
What the
fuck?
I
know why that's the sound, because we don't want it looping. But I don't know why the background music is or whatever the hell that was.
Okay, so there's a okay, I got it. So background music can loop.
Sounds won't loop.
Sounds don't. There's no
Background
option.
music will loop. Yeah.
If you set it to loop, it'll loop.
Yeah, I don't like that loop button. I
don't either because we couldn't turn the fucking thing off.
Yeah. I feel like I'm dying. I got this thing. I don't know if I told anybody about this, but I got a thing. That's not good. And I don't want. Listen, I'm okay. I've said this so many times. I'm okay with dying. There's only certain ways I would like to die. Like, I wanted to go I don't want to. I'm having a heart attack and make it last all day and like, oh.
But first you bangy bangy.
Right.
I don't mind dying, but first you bangy bangy.
That's right. Absolutely right.
I didn't. I really do not like doing open mics, and they cause me equal harm as they do good. I get my time.
How harm?
Okay,
give me an example of harm.
Give you an example of harm. I'm a storyteller for the most part. So, like, for example, the bit I wanted to rehearse last night, I knew that this open mic, I knew they gave 5 minutes. So I went through the bit and I just read through until I got to like the 4-minute mark. And then I said, okay, this is how much I'm going to do, this much. And should be under 5 minutes. I rehearsed it as if I was doing it for 5 minutes. And it came in like 4 something. And I said, okay. And depending on laughter and stuff, I will probably tell another joke. And this is the joke I will tell. So I rehearsed it. And then when there were so many people at the fucking open mic, they said, we're doing 4 minutes tonight. I was like, fuck. So I now have to decide out of a story that I've taken the time to carefully write the words where they're supposed to fall and take out a minute and still have it end on someplace where it makes sense instead of like mid-sentence going like, are we at?
Oh, like that sucks that they don't even let you finish a sentence.
Well, I'm just saying, so that, and if I keep practicing like that, that becomes the mannerism, that becomes the story. And then when I do it for real, when it should be the whole 15-minute set, I will do the truncated version instead of the full version. And that has happened a lot.
Getting a sense of what harm means. So they're making you alter your delivery for future performances.
Right. And so over time, if I can't practice it the way it needs to be practiced, I will learn it the wrong way. Subconsciously, even though I know what the words are supposed to be, but when I get into the rhythm and I'm just going and going and going, I will go automatically to the way that I had practiced it and not the way I had written it. And as a result, most of the time, I never get everything I've written out there like I wrote it because of open mics, the way I have to chop things up and practice that kind of thing. I mean, it's now it helps me with my stage presence, and I have like, I have pretty decent stage presence, but I don't need. But my material needs more work than my stage presence.
And I don't know. I've gotten to the point where I just scroll past. But one of the things I did scroll past was somebody on Facebook saying, "Why do cover bands bother rehearsing? Why don't they just learn the music at home and save all the other musicians time and effort?" And I wanted to say, my thought was, what do you care what other fucking people do? Or if it's not you, what do you, people giving a shit. But that whole rehearsal stuff, it's subjective. Some people like to rehearse. Some people feel like, even if you're doing cover material, that they're going to do it better.
Yes, you still got to rehearse. No. First of all, you're right. Why should they care unless they're in a band and they're saying, and they don't like to rehearse? Right. If they're in the band and they don't like to rehearse and they're looking for support. They're looking for someone to say like, well, you don't have to have rehearsals. And then they go like, I didn't think so. That, right. Like they're looking for someone to back them up.
You're looking for an invisible mob on social media to have your back. That's exactly what that. Like, who the fuck? What's it? Take it up with your band members. Why are you posting that here? I mean, I didn't say anything. Just reading it as I'm scrolling past. I was like, Jesus, what a dick. That's my thing. I don't like to rehearse. I never like to rehearse. I understand why some people do. I definitely do. It's just like, you know what? I don't get paid enough to fucking rehearse.
I'll tell you the main reason why I like to rehearse. Sometimes things go wrong, and you need to know how the other members of the band are going to react. So you need to know, for example, my bass player, the bass player that I had in the band that I played in a lot of bands, but when I say the band that I had, I'm talking about Modern Ideal, because that was like the best fucking band I've ever played in, as far as people, as far as talent that could tolerate me, and as far as me being able to compliment the band, because I'm not a great musician myself. These guys are really good. We were performing. The drummer, without realizing it, slides off. He was sliding toward the back of the stage, sliding and sliding and sliding toward the back of the riser until he falls off the riser. Okay, no drums for about 3 seconds. We kept playing, and the drummer reaches his sticks up and his hand up, and he reaches his hand up and starts hitting the bass pedal for the tempo, and doing
this.
For
him,
he reaches
that's
up
a trooper
and goes,
for you.
Yes, he reaches up and goes boom, 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 and we're like, okay, we're still going. And then he climbs back. He does that, climbs back on the riser, then puts his foot on it, and he goes right back. We didn't miss a fucking beat. Now I watched another band playing, and the lights went out, and he sat there for 2 minutes. And I started yelling, drum solo, drums, something, So, and then the drummer started playing a drum solo. But for 2 minutes, when the power went out, he did nothing. And the audience was like going crazy, not in a good way. Man, what the? I used to have guitar solos that were undetermined in length, I will say. And the way that they knew I was coming out of a guitar solo, I had certain habits. I had my rhythm sound and my lead sound. And I couldn't just switch back because I had all these pedals. And so I had to like gradually switch. And I always made one pedal my last pedal before I went back to my rhythm sound. And they knew once I had that sound, we're going to the rhythm. And I'm coming out of my lead solo. That kind of thing. So people have habits. You learn the habits. and you learn to work with them.
All right.
And to me, that's the best thing about rehearsal. Like I said, you know, if my drummer hadn't practiced so much, when he fell off the stage, it could have taken him who knows how long, we'd have been playing for, while he got back on the drum set and I'm hurt, no, he's just like, fuck this. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
That's it.
That happened to us on the very first gig we played when we were 13. The drummer fell off the rise. That seems a common thing. I think
most drummers don't have, because most drummers don't have a mat or a rug to put under their drum set. Now they don't learn about that. You know what I'm saying? Because that would stop you from sliding because it has the grip. Now maybe it's a reason they don't have it. I don't know.
When I was 21 years old, we were playing a place called the North Stage Theater, and these were in the days when there were drum solos. I don't drum solos, Jesus. But so everybody leaves the stage. The drummer is doing a solo, and he takes kind of a long solo. And as he's getting to the end of his solo, the person who owned the theater, or the theater manager, came up to me backstage. He goes, "You guys want to open for Carlos Santana next Saturday?" I said, "Fuck yeah." He said, "Well, keep him going. Don't let him finish his solo until I get back." And he was already at it. He had already played his whole drum solo. He's looking over at me, and he's turning purple. And he just got, and I'm like, "I gotta wait."
Was he turning a deep purple?
Yes.
or just a puce.
he was gone. He was shot, and I swear it felt like eternity before that guy got back. I'm thinking about now, it might have been 5 minutes, but it felt like 15 or 20. It was just forever. And I'm certain the audience was like, what the fuck is going on here? But I you know what, this was an opportunity for me. I was not going back out there and blowing my opportunity. Everybody was looking at me. The entire band is looking at me like, what's going on? Hold on. You'll find out when we go back on stage. And by the time we started to walk back on stage, he was huffing and puffing. And I walked up to the microphone and told everybody we would be back here next Saturday opening for Carlos Santana. And then everybody was like, "Oh, that's what, yeah, that's fine." Yeah, so, I mean, things happen. But, you get to, especially if you've been playing with the same people for years and years, that by that time. So
I mean, once we got, actually we still practice because we were always writing new material. And that's the other thing. We weren't a cover band. And even in the very, very beginning, we only did, when we did our first show, we were 50-50 covers and original music. We opened up, when we started playing original music with the covers, mixing them in. And most of the covers we did, it's like if we did covers, like if we covered Police. When we covered Police, we covered 4 Police songs. And we never covered the hot song that was on the radio because everybody knows that song. I don't think we did anyway. I'm trying to think.
Who is this kid?
Now, but when we covered Devo, I can't remember what Police songs we covered. But when we covered Devo, the hot song at the time for Devo was Whip It. We would not play Whip It. We played 4 other songs from the same album. And so people we said, when we're going to introduce the song, it says, this next song is by the band Devo. And I said, you know the song Whip It? Everybody goes, yeah. I said, we don't play Whip It. And then we go do one of the other songs. And we do the same thing with this song is by Ultravox. Okay, now actually those Ultravox songs, I don't think anybody knew. Their first album.
I don't know a single Ultravox song.
Their first album was so fucking good, but nobody knew about it. It was a cut album. I bought it for $1 because it was one of those, when it was the cut, the albums in the cut section. I don't know, you guys, you young people don't know what I'm talking about. We used to go to a record store and they had a section of albums. They had the corner cut off and you paid $1 for them. And I got some of the best fucking music that people never heard of.
I think you have that wrong. The corner cutoff meant they were spayed.
Spayed. Well, it depends on which corner. True, that, yeah. So it was the right corner that was cut. So I thought that meant it was discounted because I only paid $1, but it could have been stated. Neutered, okay.
Yeah.
But they're as far as I'm concerned, Ultravox's first album was their best fucking album, and it was, and nobody fucking. When I say nobody, I mean it was a cut album.
Anybody in the chat room ever give me an Ultravox? I don't honestly. I don't know.
Oh, and, I loved Ultravox. Their first album. After the first album, at the first album, I think they started to suck. Well, no, they didn't start to suck. They went more commercial. They had like a more commercial sound, a more radio sound. But their first album was just so fucking powerful and so fucking raw. I loved it. I still love it to this day. I don't have any other Ultravox record in my house. That's it. And it's in my phone. It's on my playlist.
Wow. Are you still hear me? I still have internet enough that you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you, but I hear you. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Nobody does.
Okay.
I'm used to.
Now, if I play like 30 seconds of Ultravox, will we get in trouble? I'm asking you. I can't tell if you're frozen or you. Damn it. Okay. I don't know the answer. I guess Matt is frozen because he's not moving. I don't think he died because his head is still upright. And so, and I cannot look for music at the same time that I'm what am I doing? Okay. I'm gonna talk about last night's open mic. There's a comedy club not too far from me. It's called the Church of Satire Comedy Club. It's run by Jim Bryan. Jim's Bryan's been on the show. And they have open mic on Monday evenings. And I think Saturday after the show, they have a show at the regular headliner. I think they do an open mic Saturday after the show, I think. But I know there's one Monday evenings. And I go there every other Monday. I go to two different places on Monday nights. There's a place called Hub Pub in Hagerstown. I'll go there, and I usually do 7 to 8 minutes on it. Get to work on 7 to 8 minutes on the set there. And then the other Monday, I go to Church of Satire, which is in, like I said, 20 miles from me. But it's a 40-minute drive, even though it's only 20 miles away. And there was so many fucking people there last night. So many comedians. And I think there were like maybe 5 audience members. But there was one lady who was, apparently she's a regular because everybody knew who she was. You know, everybody knew who Natalie was. I didn't know who Natalie was. But she kept interacting with the comedians on the stage. And to be honest, some of the best lines of the night from those other comedians came from their interaction with her, which is terrible because that just gave her license to interact more and to interrupt more. She didn't interrupt me. I didn't leave a place for her to interrupt. I had a set, I went through, people were laughing, and that's it. But the other comedians, they have like these pauses, and when they have these long pauses, Natalie felt like she could interrupt or interject to help things out. She was trying to help the comedians. And unfortunately, many of the comedians needed it. The best laughs that they had came from that woman, Natalie. And I think that's bad, okay? I don't think that the audience should be inviting themselves or should have the opportunity to participate in the show in that way. I mean, there are places when I know when I perform, I leave places for the audience to interact. Just going to the doctor for medicine might help you feel better. Oh, okay. Well, it's not going to help Matt now because he's frozen. So I don't know what the medicine will do for him, but maybe when he's done. And he's back. But I think that, unfortunately, I think it's a terrible habit. Don't do that. Yeah. I don't know what happened to you.
The internet went out, and but it went out like in spurts. Like this one still had it, this one didn't. I don't know what the hell. Anyway, it's back now.
Okay, I was just telling him about last night. There was a woman in the audience, and whenever the comedians had like 30 seconds of 15 to 30-second pause, she would start interjecting stuff. And unfortunately, those same comedians, their best jokes came from interacting with her. And that's a terrible, and I was just saying that's a terrible, terrible thing.
I hope they're not listening, because you just insulted everybody on the planet. I hope nobody on the planet I hope if anybody's listening, they're on a different planet.
I don't understand why that would be insulting. I mean, the comedians
You're
should
saying
know better.
their regular their set material sucked.
It was for the most, yeah. Or no, but I'm not saying that it sucked. I'm saying their best laughs came from their interaction. So they could have had like a B+ set, but the A+ stuff came from.
I apologize. I misquoted you, or I misrepresented.
That happens a lot. The people should realize that when the Matt says I said something, just don't fucking listen to him.
No, listen to me. Listen. Well, if you're on this planet, don't listen to me. But if you're on another planet, I guess I'm pretty positive.
I tell you, I might as well say, damn it, I should have talked about this while you were gone. I didn't think about it. The interview with Randy Levin, who was on the show, did the documentary with Jared Bellucci. Is it Bellucci or Bucci? Bellucci.
I don't.
Or Jared. Not
Monica
Subway Jared. So they String Theory Guitar Obsessed. Very funny documentary. It's an hour long. Randy Levin I did an interview with him on Done Way Past Funny. That interview is available on YouTube right now. I don't know when it's going to get to Roku TV and when it's going to get to Spark TV. Because Spark TV just started a new season of my season. My season with Spark TV is just starting, even though the interviews have been out since January. They're just starting to run them on Spark TV.
Let me just say this about Randy Levin. He's a good guy. I like Randy Levin. He's relentless with following up. Oh, can you get me in touch with? Well, ask him to watch the movie. Never ending with the emails. But when he was on Way Past Funny, Done Way Past Funny, he said String Theory. He said String Theory about the movie, but he didn't say stringtheorymovie.com. He never gave the URL. So making people.
It was scrolling at the bottom.
But for a guy who is constantly, hawking stuff, you would think that would just come off, flow out like stringtheorymovie.com, minddogtv.com. But he'll now
and
forever.
The thing is, I didn't catch it because I typed it in. So it's always, if you're watching it, and I don't put it on audio only on purpose. If you're watching it, it's scrolling across the bottom throughout the entire interview. So at some point, somebody hopefully will have read it at least once.
Sunshine says just going to the doctor for medicine might help you feel better. Going to the doctor for medicine. Is that a thing anymore? People are just allowed to you can't just walk in and say, give me some heroin.
And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Matt, and Sunshine, or people out there. Have you ever been not feeling well and you go to the doctor and before you get there, whatever it is that ails you stops ailing you? It's just like we're going in for a sore throat. You get to the doctor's office and your throat stops hurting. You go in, or like take your car into the shop. Your car is making this ping. You drive the ping, and you drive it ping, and then you take it into the dealership, and your car is like. It's like, look, I swear to God, just before I hit this corner, it went ping, and I don't know what's wrong with the car. They said, well, if it's not doing it, you can't fix it.
The thing about the doctors, I'm not feeling well. By the time I get to the doctor, it's 35 years later. So of course I'm feeling bad. So there's that. I don't know. Sarah, don't forgetting Sarah Marshall will be here soon.
I didn't do much homework on her because I don't. She's going to be talking about. I was going to say Dusty Man. Her book, which is a novel based on the burning itchy man, and of course, if he'd gotten treated for an STD 20 years ago when it first started burning, probably wouldn't be spreading it like it is.
Oh,
So.
this is just a reminder that she's coming up. I thought she was just like rescheduled. Yeah. Fine. I don't want to say what I want to say, because if I said what I was going to say, then I would be saying things I don't want to say.
Okay. I wouldn't say it then.
Do you know about this Jim Carrey thing?
No. It doesn't matter what the Jim Carrey thing is. I don't know about it.
All right. So there's a conspiracy theory that Jim Carrey.
You talking about Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey?
Yeah, the mask, dude, or whatever. Yeah.
That Jim Carrey. Okay.
There's a conspiracy theory that the government whacked Jim Carrey and replaced him with a guy who kind of looks a little like him, but it sounds a little like
you
him.
You can't fake that personality.
Well, the guy isn't. He's not. He's like a bad Jim Carrey impersonator or something. Whether he's had like severe plastic surgery, but also his voice changed. And so this is why people are saying that's not Jim Carrey. He went up to get like an award or something. People were saying that, and this is a 2-week-old conspiracy theory. I just haven't, but people are spreading it like crazy now. It's like the big thing, fake Jim Carrey, whatever.
And is it possible that he's ill? He's sick or something? Like
possible.
He has like, remember when Freddie Mercury had AIDS for like a year or two, and he wouldn't even talk about it. And people would like notice that he'd be tired. He was, his face was sunken in, and he didn't tell anybody until like a week or two before he died. Yeah. And he finally told the bandmates. He finally told the band first. Told the band. And they're like, "Whoa, you've been with us for like a year with that, and you're just telling us?" Now, I'm not saying that Jim Carrey has AIDS or anything. I'm just saying that it's possible that it's just, look, I don't pay attention enough to other people.
Me neither. Screw other people. That's what I always say.
It's funny. My wife is getting to the point where she is starting to take my comedy for granted. And she's also beginning to take what she can say to me for granted, because I don't generally get offended when people say things to me. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that sometimes things aren't hurtful when I hear them, but I'm not going to go off the handle. Even if somebody that says something, like if somebody, let's say I had a disagreement with someone. They said, "Well, what if I told you all the things you said that were unfunny for the past 5 years?" Yeah, if someone said that to me, in a way it would bother me, but I'm not going to go off and fly off the hedges like, "What the fuck you talking about? I was unfunny for 5 years." I wouldn't do that. It's like, okay, you need to vent, go ahead and vent. But my wife says things like that to me, and she's not even venting. I think she's just tired of being nice.
I'm tired of being nice myself. I'm too nice. I'm too nice a guy, right? Isn't that what they say about me?
No one I know has ever said that about you. I think they said too generous. I've heard people say you're too generous. I think they mistake nice and generous as nice and generous are not the same thing.
I know. Nobody ever said I'm nice at all. It's just okay. So it doesn't look really all. He doesn't look sick. He just looks like different.
He had a facelift or something.
Yeah.
And his hairline is retreated, I guess.
And his voice changed too, though. But and you would think he would come out and say, "No, I'm not a fucking clone. It's me," right? Because it's been going on for weeks. Why didn't he just come out and say, "No, of course I'm not a clone," and put it? Maybe like the publicity, he likes being talked about in that way. I don't know, but it didn't sound like him. And people, but it's one of those things where people just don't put it down. They're not going to let it rest until he does that. So it could be going on for years. Fake Jim Carrey news. The fake Jim Carrey story. That should be a movie, like a biography movie. But ridiculous is what what is that he? Because if somebody said there was a Matt Nappo clone, then nobody would know. But I'd be out there saying, "No, that's not a clone. Why doesn't he just come out and say, I'm me? I know I'm getting ugly. It happens. It's called age." Whatever. I don't know. What else? Oh, this reporter kid. Who the hell is this kid? It's a kid. he got to talk to Trump, like he's in Trump having a press conference. And this kid I love this kid. I want to say I love this kid. I'm going gay for this kid. He said, the kid grabs a microphone and says, you suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk missile and bombed its own elementary school. And they don't cut it off before you see Trump's response. You had to be like, get this kid out of here. But no other fucking reporter had the fucking ball to say, stop with the bullshit. You seriously want people to believe like Iran, it was a Tomahawk missile. The only people who have Tomahawk missiles are the United States of America. You're suggesting that somehow they stole a Tomahawk missile and said, let's bomb our own elementary school? That's what you want people to believe? And then it cuts off there. I don't know what Trump's response was, but good for this kid. Every fucking
I don't know if it's a kid. I heard Trump answering a question by somebody, and that was the question they asked him. I just heard it on the radio. I was listening. I didn't see it, so I don't know about it being a kid. I thought it was just a reporter.
But
like Trump's response was, well, we're going to look into it, and that's what I'm being told, and so basically Trump didn't say that he knew it for a fact.
But he did. He did a couple of days ago on the airplane. On Air Force One, somebody said, "What about the bombing of the elementary school?" And Trump said, "Iran did it." And somebody had the balls to say, "Hegseth, is that true?" And Hegseth said, "We're investigating it." And Trump turned around to him, "It was Iran."
So, when Trump was being asked, they said, "You and why is it that everybody else in the Defense Department is saying that it wasn't Iran? But they didn't bomb their own school, but you're the only one saying that it did." Yeah. And he basically says, well, we're looking into it, but that's what I think happened. And then he goes off on this thing, this little tangent. But yeah, he says that's what we're looking into it. And if people tell me whatever they tell me, I'll believe what they tell me. Something along those lines.
Yeah, that would be a first.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's
this is what I heard.
That I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
So Iran bought Tomahawk missiles from us? Is that what he's trying? Yeah, he's such a. Do you get it yet? That he's just a fucking bullshit artist. Too much noise. I can't hear very well. I'll be back in a few minutes. Too much noise here. Becky. Why is there so much noise here, GD? Why are we making so much noise?
I don't have an answer for that. I didn't know we're making noise.
We're obviously in Becky's house. We're making noise.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to do this real quick. I was asking you a question.
Real quick.
I was asking you a question before
I lost my internet.
Right, and the question was, if I played like 30 seconds of Ultravox's first album, what would get dinged for?
I got a copyright strike.
Oh, okay, never mind. I won't try it then.
Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying, but so are you.
Forget it.
So are all those people. They're dying. We're all dying.
I recommend that people check out Ultravox's first album. It's called Ultravox. Their first album is called Ultravox. They have, like I said, it's just raw. It is such like they were so raw. They had the kind of rawness that I like in my performances. They don't sound polished, but they're tight. And I love that raw sound. I never got to sound as raw as they did or as they do. But I love that. That's just it for me. I love that sound. I love a good garage band with the raw energy and the raw sound. I just love that. As much as I love, like, yes, they don't have a garage band sound. They're just fucking good. King Crimson, fucking phenomenal.
In the 60s and 70s, there was a guitar Univox, not Ultravox. I was just thinking, God, sounded like the guitar. I mean, they were not bad
there's
guitars.
there's a Univox made guitar equipment, right? They made pedals also, right?
Yeah, they're not around anymore. I don't think, right? But they were pretty good back in the day. Univox, not Ultravox.
I had some of their stuff. I didn't have any of their guitars, but I had a couple of their pedals.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think my first pedal may have been a Univox Square Wave. That may have been my first pedal.
They're actually on, I guess, on eBay. Well, here we got listings on eBay. Univox Les Paul, $5.99. Univox electric guitar bridge. Univox flat Taylor Swift panties. Wait a minute, how much? $49.95. Wow.
As far as stuff that you're getting rid of, Matt, by chance you wouldn't have a fuzz wah guitar pedal hanging around there, would you?
No, I haven't had one of those since 1976.
That is still my favorite pedal. A fuzz wah. That is still my favorite. The Crybabies.
Yeah.
That is to this day, that is my favorite pedal. That if I played, matter of fact, because I still have a wah wah pedal. I do. I love.
I'm laughing at this headline that came across. Alina Habba was condemning Kamala Harris's remarks at Reggie Jackson's funeral. She was talking about Jesse Jackson's funeral. Reggie Jackson probably said, "What? I'm dead."
Kamala was at my funeral, but I missed it. Shit.
Holy fuck!
I'd have shown up for that.
Poor Reggie. I'm not dead yet.
I'd have shown up for that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of the comments about his Jesse Jackson's funeral, but I didn't care. Didn't care about his funeral. You know, because I don't discount what he did. He did a lot of good for a lot of people. It's just that he was personally a dick, and
is this about the water thing? He wanted you to get him water.
No, it was more than just that. Like I said, I've had multiple interactions with him. He was just so fucking arrogant. And I understand, the thing is, it was an arrogance that came from an event that he couldn't control. Because he was there when Martin Luther King got shot. Because he was there, it was like, I was there. And it's like, we got that. Yeah, you were there. You know, if he'd been shot at Piggly Wiggly, the cashier would have been there.
Yeah,
you know, it was just a chance thing.
Well,
and I just got so tired of hearing him. I just got so fucking tired of him saying, "I was there when we got it." Yeah,
it's human nature, though. I mean, every comedian.
Yeah, but after a while, let it fucking go.
Oh yeah, that's true. After 50 years or whatever.
Even before, let it go after a few months. By the anniversary, let it fucking go.
But I guarantee, the minute a celebrity dies, every fucking comedian on Facebook is posting a picture of, oh, I do. Here's a picture of me with them. You met him at a meet and greet after a fucking thing and took a picture with them. But they're trying to somehow like connect themselves to the dead guy somehow. Like, I don't know. That doesn't impress me about what you do. Like, that doesn't make you a good comedian, or it doesn't make you a good politician just because you were there getting Martin Luther King's blood on you or something. And yeah, you didn't even do that, but I don't know. It's human nature to try to fucking steal some dead guy thunder. Don't applaud for him. Applaud for me. He's dead. He's dead. He can't hear you anyway.
I think I got a compliment, and I got spit on last night.
Wow. Well, if it was the lead guitarist of Metallica, that's one and the same. That's how he compliments people.
Well, it was this tall guy. After I did my set, he comes up afterwards and he goes, "Man," he goes, he says, "Before I came in, I was outside talking about such and such, and if I were a comedian, I would want to have done that topic just like you did." He goes, it was perfect. I would have done it. If I were a comedian, I would have wanted it. I would have wanted to do it just like that. And he's giving me this compliment. And at the same time, he spit on my forehead. He spit And I'm like, okay, thanks. And then I looked at his teeth, and they're like all these gaps between them, like they were starting to rot and stuff. I'm like, whoa, buddy. And and he went on. He complimented me for a good 45 seconds to a minute, but he was still. I thank you for the compliment, but could you do it a little drier? Is all I'm trying to say.
My first pedal was my tricycle. What are we doing? Comedy now, Heavy Kev? Come on. Come on. This next act hails from New Zealand. You might have seen him at Kiwi Laughs or something. Kiwi Bananas. Let's have a big round of applause for Heavy Kev. Oh.
Do you remember this movie?
I remember people check out the Nothing in Common with Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason. You know, I saw that movie, but I can't remember it.
I don't remember it.
I remember that it was. I remember watching it when it was on HBO like 1,000 years ago. But you know, something about Jackie Gleason, even though he's like typical. I want to talk about this too. He's a typical Brooklyn guy, whatever. He's a New York guy. Just something about him rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it was because he reminded me of the Irish side of my mother's family. He's big fat Irish dudes.
Now there was a biopic made about Jackie Gleason, starring the guy that plays Ray Romano's brother on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Raymond, yeah. He did he good impressions of Jackie.
Yeah,
Gleason. I remember that movie.
And when I watched that, I thought to myself, Jackie Gleason was a real dick.
Yeah, but he was super big in the nightclub scene in the 50s before he got the television show. That's how he got.
Yes,
he was a huge nightclub guy, you know, and America hadn't become TVized yet. or nobody, you know, only like if you lived in suburbia, not every house on the block had a television yet at that point. It was like, oh, let's go over next door and watch TV, something like that. But he was huge. It was huge then. Movie. It was a movie about divorce. Nothing in Common. But what Tom Hanks was Jackie Gleason's son or something?
I'm thinking they were married.
Yeah, I can't. It was gay divorce.
I don't think they were happy about it.
Remember Greg Kinnear?
Yeah, he was a comedian.
Yeah, he was Talk Soup, and then they tried to make him into a movie star, right? And that he was in a couple of movies, one with Jack Nicholson, and
right. As Good as It Gets.
Right. As Good as It Gets, right? Yeah, and then he was in this movie called Sabrina with Harrison Ford, which is a remake of a Humphrey Bogart movie. I saw a clip from that last night, and I thought that looks like a pretty good movie because not pretty good movie, a pretty hard thing to believe. The premise is this. Greg Kinnear and this young girl, Sabrina, grew up friends. She was the daughter of a chauffeur. He was like for money or something. Daughter of his father's chauffeur or something. And they grew up best friends. She goes off to Paris, comes back after a couple of years in Paris, and he doesn't recognize her. And I'm like, that's far-fetched. I don't think you could grow up best friends with somebody, you know, in your childhood. You go away for a couple of years, they come back, and you have no idea who it is. And he ends up giving her a ride home, like, oh yeah, I live on that block. Well, so do I. Yeah. And he pulls into the same driveway, and he still can't figure out who this person is. It's like, does that make any sense to you? I mean,
well, if maybe they were doing drugs or something. And it's like, only reason I said it because when I lived in Baltimore, there was a kid across the street from me, guy named Abram, and I mean, we played together almost every day. Like, I met him when I was like 6 years old, and I moved away from there when I was 13. And even then, I'd still visit for like a year or two. I think I visited with him up until I was like 16 years old. And then I got my license, and then I didn't go back to visit for like maybe a year or two. And when I go back to visit, you know, I walked to his house, and I said, where's Abram? And they said, well, he's up so-and-so. And I'll start walking up that way. So I start walking up the street, and I'm on one side of the street. I'm on the right side. He's coming down the opposite side, and I recognize him from like 100 feet away. So I walk right across the street, and I walk straight toward him, and I like walking right up towards him, and I like walk right up to his face, and he goes, "Man, you better get the fuck out my face, unless you want some trouble." And I went, "Maybe I'm looking for trouble." And I start to smile, and he goes, "Glenn?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I was about to fuck you up." I said, "First of all, you never could fuck me up." I said, "Beat your ass every time, and I'll beat your ass again."
All right, that's fair enough. I could see that. But this clip I saw, she sees him on the street. She says, "How are you?" It looks like he's pumping gas or something in his Ferrari. Look, nobody owns a Ferrari pumping their own gas. But she said, "How are you?" He's like, "Okay, you know me, I guess." Right? And then they end up getting her. I mean, they're having this conversation on the street. He still doesn't figure out who she is. Then she's sitting next to him in his car. He's driving home. He still doesn't know who she is. They get out of the car and they're having a conversation. He still can't figure out who she is. It's like, come on, soon. This was your best friend growing up. This is not. It's not like somebody you casually knew around town who went away, got good looking, and came back or whatever. It's like it stretches credibility a little bit. That's all. But so then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll check this movie out because it says it's on Amazon Prime. Or I go to look it up, and it's like $14. I was like, "What the fuck? I'm not paying $14 to watch a shitty old Harrison Ford, Greg Kinnear movie on Amazon Prime." I mean, I got a membership. Shouldn't it be free? But then I started thinking about Greg Kinnear. Remember, he was on Talk Soup, and they were going to make him into a movie star. He did a couple of movies. He doesn't do movies anymore, right? He's like done. Maybe just I got enough money. I don't really
know. Who knows? Maybe I don't know the answer to that. I mean,
I liked him on Talk Soup. I didn't. The movies didn't seem like a good. He had a television show like after Letterman or something. He was the first before Bob Costas took over. That later, it was later with Greg Kinnear, and that was pretty good. We're talking 1992 or something, really like crazy. But he was pretty good on that. He went from Talk Soup to following Letterman with a Stephen Colbert type of thing, and then they put him in movies. It's like that's bad. He's not a fucking actor. He's not a leading man type. He's a wise guy, dopey commentator, like not necessary for the news type of guy. Ready for the news. That guy. That's his strong point. He got away from that. I'm just wondering if he's like washed up in like I don't know, flipping burgers or working a drive-through somewhere now.
I was this is back when I was with my very, very first wife, first of three, and we had we had a couple of blankets. We had 3 comforters that were too big for our washer and dryer. So on the weekends I would go to the laundromat so I could wash them in like the super big machines. And so I was in there in the laundromat with the kid with Toya and Kirk, and this woman walks in, and I said to Toya, I said, I used to go to school with her, and I said, her name is Debbie. I said, I remember I knew about her like a year before she came to our school because all the other kids just talked about how gorgeous she was. That's all they talked about was how gorgeous this one girl was, and she went to another school, and then she transfers to our school. And everybody's like, she's here. Debbie, her name was Debbie English. Debbie English, she's at our school. And so I wanted to see who this gorgeous girl was, right? And I walked up to her and said, well, she was attractive, but it's like, I didn't see the whole gorgeous thing. I didn't, she was no more attractive than the ones that I thought were like really attractive. But she did have a perfect afro. So that may have given her like an extra few brownie points. But she did not know who I was. She didn't recognize me. I mean, she didn't pay me any mind in school. But everybody knew who my brother was. My brother was the good-looking one. with a perfect afro also. My brother, so she didn't know who I was. I run into her years later. I'm with Toy and Kirk, and I recognize her. As soon as she walks in the laundry, I recognize her. But she does not look good as she did back in high school. And so she walks up, and I said, Debbie? She goes, yes. I said, Debbie English. She goes, yes. Do I know you? I said, we went to Oakland Mills together. She goes, you don't look familiar. I said, no, I probably wouldn't. I said, nobody really paid attention to me when I was in high school.
Oh.
I said, but you knew my brother. I said, Ralph. She goes, Ralph Henderson? I said, yeah. She goes, oh my God, yeah, he was hot. I said, well, not so much anymore. So she goes, you turned out nice looking. I went, thank you. And Toya was staring at me, looking at me, and so Debbie had this pause, and she was waiting for me to pay her a compliment. You could tell that she was waiting for a compliment, but I didn't have a compliment for her because she didn't look good. She looked like she'd been beaten wet and put away wet or something. What's that expression? Beaten and put away wet. And so I didn't have, so I just said, well, it was good seeing you. And Toya says, what is wrong with you? I said, what? She goes, she was waiting for a compliment. I said, I know. She goes, why didn't you say something? I said, because I didn't want to lie to her. She looked terrible.
That's my compliment.
I said, she looked terrible. She goes, oh my God, you are so mean. I said, I'm not mean. I'm just honest. I said, it would have been mean for me to say, oh, you haven't changed a bit. Because that'd be a lie.
When I was a kid, there was down the block from me, a girl who was like 5 or 6 years older than me. She was movie star good looking. Her name was Angela. And everybody recognized that this girl was just stunningly beautiful. And we used to like just kind of just like look at binoculars. Oh, she's in the pool. I mean, but as little kids doing this stuff. It's about 10 years ago at the end of a gig, one of these park gigs, outdoor beach park gigs, a woman comes up to me and she's like, oh, my boy, I remember you from Belterra Avenue. I was like, oh, yeah. That. She goes, I'm Angela. Do you remember me? And the minute she said Angela, I should have thought, oh, Angela. But she looked like the Crypt Keeper. I mean, I'm sorry, Angela. Please don't be listening now, or anybody who knows her, be listening now. But I remember, like, after I figured, because she walked away, she's like, you don't remember me? I was like, no, I don't remember you. And then she's walking away, and it's like, Angela. Don't tell me that was like movie star Angela. I'm not going to say her last name just in case. But too late now. But she was fucking gorgeous, and then she turned into the Crypt Keeper. How does that happen? Like the most beautiful. And she's older than me, but she's not like 20 years older than me. She's 5 or 6 years older than me. She shouldn't look like the Crypt Keeper already. Maybe, but man. It fucked me up for a couple of weeks after that. It's just like, how could Angela turn into that? Because in my mind, she's still my Betty Grable or whatever, the pinup girl. She was just like, I don't know, listen to me, I'm a fucking 1940s. Yeah, hot bathtub gin. Let's go.
Yeah, she was a babe, man. There's names on that. Yeah.
Man, though.
Real sweetheart. Yeah, see, she was a sweetheart. Yeah,
greatest cat in Minute Mouse. Yeah. Oh,
see?
Yeah. I'm looking at perfect afros because I don't know what makes an afro perfect, because they're different kind of afros. And some of them are a little bumpy. I don't know. There's one.
Yeah, a perfect afro. Now, because you have to know what their intention is. Like, there's a guy on MSNBC. I can't remember his name, but his face kind of looks like Lionel Richie, but he has like a big curly afro.
Hello.
But it's like it's almost like he has gosh, I used to have one when I was in high school. Like it's
you're looking for. I'm sorry.
It's almost like he uses little rods to curl his hair, but his afro is perfect, and he's perfectly groomed. Everything is like, the whole face is like perfectly groomed, like he spends an hour every day making sure there's no hair out of place, almost like he has a stencil. Is that what's called a stencil?
Yeah.
And he puts it on his face, and anything outside of the thing gets plucks. And it's because his face is like perfect every day. You know, that's what I mean by perfect afro. Because there's different types of afros, but you can tell some of them are just like so round, so perfectly round.
Do you remember Link from the Mod Squad? He had
he had a nice afro.
And there was a guy on Room 220. People probably people remember the Mod Squad, but when I say Room 222, does anybody know what I'm talking about out there?
I know what you're talking about.
Karen Carpenter, Karen Valentine.
Yeah, Karen Valentine.
Yeah, she was
Denise,
a teacher.
Denise Nichols.
Right. And there was a student named Jason, and he had one of these big old afros, like 3-foot afro off the top of the head. That was a perfect afro. Represented the 1970s, 60s, late 60s, early 70s very well. Our guest is here, Sarah Marshall. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I wonder, she probably hears that nonsense all the time.
Well, she laughed when you said it, so it's either she thinks you're stupid or she got the reference.
I think,
or it could be both. You know, the two are not mutually exclusive. That she thinks you're stupid and that she got the joke.
Yeah, Sarah Marshall has participated in the Burning Man.
You'd have thought that after 20 years, he'd have gotten that cleared up.
I was going to say more than 20 years, but you're psychic. You knew that. Because I didn't quite. But
I had an SPD. If somebody called me Burning Man for 20 years, I'd have gotten some kind of ointment after.
No, yeah, I would. That's what I was going to say. 20 years of burning. It's like, may go see a doctor already.
Yeah, I had chlamydia once, and after a week, I couldn't take it.
She experienced a temporary city, not as a spectator, but as a contributor, camp leader, and devoted student of the community rhythms and rituals. You know what? After it's been going on all this long, I don't know what any of the community rhythms and rituals are. So
I think one ritual is that you have to have a mud storm once every like 10 or 12 years, so that people are like drenched in mud and food is scarce and it's like a biblical proportions, a disaster of biblical proportions.
You left out the most important thing, which is dust. She brings this to a novel, an intimate knowledge of the desert and the people who return year after year. She's here now. Let's say hello to Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Good morning, Sarah Marshall.
Good morning. I don't know if you remember the advertising for that movie, but if they didn't say anything about the movie, they just had billboards and such that said, "You do look fat in those pants, Sarah Marshall." I did hate you, Sarah Marshall.
No, I don't remember any. You know what? I remember not knowing what that movie was about because it was on. There came a time where it was on cable like every day almost. It was just, they were just overdoing it with that movie, and I never got what. I mean, the Jason Segel, whatever his name is, was trying to get over her. I don't know. He was trying to forget her, but. Yeah, so you're probably just sick of that, right? Forgetting.
Well, I did have people calling me asking me who I pissed off.
Yeah, I want to put these in the description here. Player Dust in My Soul is one, and the Amazon link is where you can buy the book is the other link that we have there. And let me show the book while I'm at it. Clue us in about some of these rituals and rhythms and all that stuff that actually goes on there, because we've all heard about the Burning Man.
Yeah, separate the myth. Yeah, separate the myth from the reality for us.
Myth.
Wrong book, isn't it?
Wrong book. Yeah, let me get a different book. Hold on. Let me delete this book.
Yeah, let's get a book that she wrote. Not
all right, fine.
Please, let's start there.
We can give her credit for that book, but.
Yeah. So tell us about the rituals while I get the book. What the hell is it about?
Sure. So I'm sure that you've heard the spectacle of it. You always see the kind of the big headlines in the news, blah blah, weather, this, something happened out there, that, etc. What this book explores is what is it really like to be on the ground there, and what's a day in the life of being out there. And what inspired me was I've been going to Burning Man on and off for 20 plus years. And I started at the beginning of 2000. And back then it was a little wilder and woollier. There was only about 18,000 people the first year I went there. Now there's 80 every year. And my experience was I was pretty buttoned down. I had transitioned just a couple of years beforehand. And so I was coming out into that experience with no ability to put what was going on out there in my head in any direction. And I was also feeling very defensive and closed. So I came out into this permissive environment that people just wanted you to be who you were. And I had no capacity to do that. And that very much flavored this book, which starts, it starts before the event, because the first character to come on to the playa is a guy that's part of what's called the Department of Public Works for Burning Man, somebody that's building stuff out there early on. And it tracks through each character showing up on the playa out there and having their own different kind of experience at Burning Man.
How did it begin? Burning. We're just going to create a big wooden man and burn him down. So
in the early 90s, an artist built this man. He was going through a breakup. He built this wooden man to burn as an effigy in San Francisco. He went out to Baker's Beach with a couple friends, burned this thing, and they all enjoyed it. So they decided to do it next year, and the event got so big that the city of San Francisco said, "You can't do it here anymore. You got to go somewhere else." And he was affiliated with this group called the Cacophony Society that would go out in the stark desert and blow things up. Basically, they would just go out and do crazy stuff. So he moved his effigy out to the Black Rock Desert, and then the event formed around it. The first several years were super wild and woolly, and then in '96, there was a couple of accidents that happened that killed people, so they got more civilized. They put in city streets, etc., and then the event grew from there.
Wow.
Now, with people dying, why didn't because some events, depending on who's involved, when people die, you don't hear anything else. That event is over. So how did that survive the deaths?
It's a great question. They had to negotiate with the Bureau of Land Management, different BLM, and they had to kind of inculcate themselves with the local citizens, and it's pretty hard scrabble out there. Pretty much a group of very independent folks, but they started providing funding to the city from the proceeds from the event and the local Native American reservation, and they just kind of wormed their way into the hearts of folks out there, and the event just continued to grow. And as you're seeing today, it's still pretty popular.
Yeah. So if 80,000 people coming in, that's a lot of money to that town, I guess, right? Because they're buying supplies, and so basically it's cash. You can have a few lives lost as long as we're getting our beaks wet.
Well, there's several things. One is in negotiation with the local county and federal bureaucracy, they had to agree to make it more safe. So they put in a speed limit, et cetera, et cetera. They civilized it, so to speak. And for the local municipalities, they provided funding, as well as you have all this influx of folks that are going to stop in the stores and buy stuff, et cetera. So the real trick is to balance between the annoyance of all these people coming out to the desert, spending a week out there and then leaving, with what are they providing for the local municipalities.
Right. Now, I promise we will get to the book. We will get to the book eventually. But
who cleans up after it's done? Is it contracted out, or is it volunteers who are part of it? Because cleaning up after 80. Look, I live in a house with just me and my wife. I don't even like cleaning up after the two of us. And if I had kids, then that's what they would be doing.
I could foresee a gigantic mess being left. Right?
So that's an interesting thing about Burning Man. There's two pieces to that to answer that question. The first is Burning Man operates on 10 principles. We'll talk about a couple of them. One of them is leave no trace. So while you're out there, anything that isn't where it should be is called move, material out of place. And you are supposed to police yourself. Literally, not even an ash lands on the playa. You have to capture it in some kind of container. So people that go out there are very aware that they are there to keep things clean as well as have the time that they want. So the event is actually probably the cleanest, other than the dust, It's probably the cleanest event I've ever been to because there is no trash. Everybody takes responsibility for carting everything off. But there's also, I mentioned the DPW crew, and they do stay afterwards and do a tear down and clean everything back to pristine conditions.
Yeah. Next week in Central Park, New York, St. Patrick's Day, and you at the evening of St. Patrick's Day, when they all go from the park to the bars, you will see it's just a pile. It's like a landfill. That's what it's going to be. So maybe some of these Burning Man people should go out there and teach the Irish drunks how to party.
Well, there is a certain culture of accountability out there that's unique to any place I've ever been.
I love it.
It kind of reminds me of the Million Man March. When the Million Man March was done, there was no trash. You know, it was all. That's it. Yep. It was done.
Wow.
You know, and that was the one thing. And now that part of that was because when they put together the Million Man March, I remember that the first thing is that they said they're expecting us to be savages, so we're not going to be savages. They're expecting us to leave filth behind us. We're not going to leave filth. And so, and so the whole time people's reporting it, they're saying, and it's a mess. And none of that was happening. It was like, no, it was peaceful, and they cleaned up, and so much so that, you know, I know some of the guys got home, and their wives were like, wait a minute, you can clean up the park, but you can't clean up your own fucking house.
It is. I would say that most of the people I know out at Burning Man, when I go out there, are much more messy in their regular life than when they go out to this event.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. When did it occur to you that you should be writing a novel? I mean, because and this is a question I ask a lot of people because some people grow up thinking I'm going to write a novel, and they start. I've interviewed like a 12-year-old who had already done 7 novels, but then I have other people who like 40 years old before they write their first novel, and you think, were you suppressing that the whole time, wanting to be a novelist? When was it at a Burning Man, first of all, and how did it come to you that, okay, I'm going to become a novelist now?
You know, it wasn't. I never thought of myself as a novelist or a fiction writer. I write okay, but more of in a technical writing sense. I can, explain things to people, etc. So like I said, I went out there early 2000s and had this just very difficult but very enlightening transformational experience my first year there, and kind of opening up to things that I just didn't ever think I could open up to. And I thought of this idea of the story, and since I had so many artist friends from being out there, I just tried to shop that story around and get somebody else to take up the mantle and write it. Nobody would. So I decided to write it. And I wrote a first version in the 2000s, in the late 2000s, and it was horrible. It was very informational. It was a mountain of information, but it wasn't a story. And so I would pick it up, work on it, give it to people, get feedback, go into despair, put it back down, go on with my life, come back to it. And it took me over 20 years to get the novel written.
I feel comfort in it. I take comfort in that because I've been trying to write. I've been working on, first, this is a part of the problem, 2 different books at the same time for about 7 years now. And really have given, I was going to be publishing one, and I'm not happy with it. So 20 years, I'll probably be dead, but maybe.
Literally at the end of last year, I finally got shaped into a condition that I said, now here's a story people can read and enjoy. And that's when I published it.
Right. Playa dust. What does playa dust mean? What's the significance? I don't know. So when I hear playa, I think of a guy who's like out chasing women.
A playa. No, it's so playa is a Spanish word for beach. And if you notice from that picture, the event takes place on a giant alkali lake bed. It's 100 miles long and about anywhere up to like 20 miles wide. And it's placed kind of in the middle of that big giant nothingness. So you can see there's not a weed, there's not a plant, there's not an animal, an insect, there's nothing out there. And so the only thing that is out there is what we bring. So
Right.
playa dust is the dust of that alkali lake bed. And it gets into everything. It gets into whatever you take out there is going to be full of playa dust.
Well, thanks for pointing out what a dipshit dope I am. Playa. I'm thinking playa. But that's fine. Nobody's surprised that I'm a dipshit dope. Everybody knew that except for you, but now you know.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Your background is in the Navy. I mean, your early background in Navy submarines. Is that?
Yeah, I was in the military. I was very much compensating for who I really was. I was trying to be what the society wanted me to be. I was in the military. I went to school for engineering. I was a firefighter. I was a martial artist. I had my own martial arts school for a period. None of that worked. The only thing that actually fixed me was actually addressing who I really was at my core. So yeah, I had all this kind of button down lifestyle up to transitioning, and I was still new into it when I went out and had this mind expansive experience.
I want to ask you about that.
I have two questions now.
Hold on, let me ask about this, because this is something I need to work out of my own system. When in the early 90s, I was working for a school of healing, and I was close friends with this guy. Call him John. We'll call him John. And we used to go. It was like run like a 4-year school, so it would be a summer break. And apparently, everybody knew this, but and I was close friends with the guy, and I'm surprised that I didn't know. Summer break came back, and he was no longer John, and for some reason, we were not friends. Like he almost couldn't look at me, like. And first of all, I was surprised because I was the only one who didn't know he was transitioning. And then when he came back, he wanted nothing that, like, I was nobody. I was invisible to him, her now. And to me, it was just very weird. Did you go through any of that, like relationships, friendships that you lost during that time?
It's an odd thing. I took it from a completely different angle. I didn't really want to change my life. I just wanted to change who I was and how I presented to the world. So I didn't purposefully give up anybody in my life. And in fact, I still have people in my life that were in my life back then. But it was very challenging. Even us trans people, we take a lot of that transphobia in and have a level of self-phobic feeling. So getting through that process from hiding to being completely yourself can be a very difficult transition psycho-emotionally, because you have to work through all your own stuff as you're dealing with the world. At that point, I was director of operations of a biotech company. So I had people reporting to me, I had a critical position, etc. So I had to work through that stuff with a therapist, so I wasn't getting it on the people I worked with at the time.
You know, I appreciate you sharing that, because this obviously is something I have not resolved within myself, because I think, and to be perfectly fair, she now probably had some assumptions about the kind of dick I would be. And because I was, you know, when she was a he, I was myself and being really like stupid and you know, just really not homophobic, but in the language, it was all this kind of stuff. So when he became a she, he probably had some assumptions that he's not going to be accepting of this. But for me, I still carry like we were friends, and now we're not friends, and I would have accepted it. I certainly would have had some adjustment to do, but to not, it means like all the years we were friends before that meant nothing. And to me, I carry around that. She's probably doing fine. Like
I don't know. It's an odd thing. The people I thought would be fine weren't. The people that I thought would have trouble with it were great. Yeah. I had a friend from my military days who came and took care of me when I went through surgery, and he and I were in martial arts together, etc. He was great. So it's hard to judge how people are going to be. So I just don't make any assumptions about it. And it's a tough thing to go through. And to your point, being a male is kind of the top position socially. So if you're accepting your femininity and you're presenting in a feminine way, it is derided. So you have to accept. I accepted when I made my transition that I was going to be in Main Street dealing with whatever came up, and I wasn't going to let that affect what I was going to do in life. And that has supported me. It's also been a challenge.
All right.
My question is a little bit more along the vanity, I guess. As a cis girl, when they grow up, usually gets makeup tips from their mom as they're growing up. You didn't get that probably, and so when you transitioned, who helped you learn to do makeup, and how did you decide what look was going to be the look that Sarah is going to put out to the world?
I struggled with that for years up through Burning Man, and then after Burning Man, it mellowed out some. So I was married when I transitioned, and my now ex-wife really tried to support me through the process. She was there for me. She gave me some tips. I also did what women do, which is like schedule an appointment with a makeup artist to give recommendations and things like that. But the whole look and presenting myself and knowing that everybody was watching me while I was going through this it was a very intense experience to be monitored as you're very publicly. When the HR guy that I worked with at the company I was in at the time said, "How do you do this? I'm upset if my hair's out of place, but people know where you are whenever you're walking through the building." And I said, "It's like being a rock star without any of the benefits. It's just what I had to deal with in order to do that and become myself."
Coming back to the book, it says it because the book takes place in Burning Man, which is part of your experience, but it's not about the Burning Man. It's not about Burning Man. No. But I think a lot of people are gonna assume it is, right? And do they need explaining about that beforehand? But it's not a documentary about Burning Man. It's a story that involves Burning Man. It's at the center of the story, but it has nothing to do with Burning. It's not information about Burning Man, right?
You could say that the Burning Man, the event, is another character in the book. The way I wrote this book is, if you have gone to Burning Man and you're a veteran, you'll find lots of Easter eggs that you'll go, "Oh, I know what that is," and et cetera. But I also wrote it especially for people that have never been there, so that if they read the book, they're going to have a real lived experience of what it's like to go out to Burning Man and go through what you have to go through to be there, from whatever position you're coming from. Because my characters all embody different archetypes. There's people that have never been, that are coming out having their first experience. There's veterans that are out there to build art or provide something to the community. They're all out there for representing a particular purpose and taking a particular journey through this process. The book is about belonging and what it is to belong, and what your relationship with belonging, especially in this temporary community out in the desert.
Wow. You call it a temporary community. Do people stay in touch? Is there like like a network afterwards, or you don't see the people until you go back the next year, and then it's like family again, which is kind of strange. So
that's very much a personal choice for how you're going to engage in the event. There's certainly social groups that you can join to stay in touch with people over the years, but most of it comes from personal connections. So I've been part of a camp for the entire time I've been out there, and we've run anywhere from 14 people to 300, and so literally over the years I've camped with thousands of people, and of those thousands of people that have been in my camp, I still stay in touch with hundreds of them every year, and have even done things like, in my early years, we would go as a large group and go on vacations together and stuff. So it's really up to you how you want to engage the people that you meet out there.
Who's the audience for the book? Because I read some of the reviews. It sounds like some people think it's and this is a really tough way for me to describe what I'm trying to say here. Some people think it's a strategy book for business people and running organizations. Is that a fair thing for me to
The look
say?
on your face is like, what? What book are they reading?
That's certainly a lot of the work I do in my professional life, but it has nothing to do with this book. I mean, every
Some
person.
of the reviews would indicate that people think that's what it's about, though.
There's some. Yeah, I saw some of that in the reviews, and some of the folks have been to the event. I know some of the folks that have reviewed it. Others I don't, so I don't know where they're coming from on that. but it's definitely has nothing to do with business or organizational structures. I mean, you certainly develop them, but they are entirely organic in the way that they develop.
Well, so there's no code. Like if they read every other word on the right hand column all the way down, there's like a secret code that shows you how to break down the finances of it. It's like
I think that's
code. It's
kind of one of the hazards of people knowing too much about you and what you do in your business life, and they're looking for that. Like, wait a minute, I don't know where that came from, because to me it seemed odd to be reading that in the reviews. Like, where are you getting this organizational strategy and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there's nothing in there will give you any insight into organizational strategy. There's certainly some good.
And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a self-help book that would help me with financial organization, because I'm terrible. I am terrible at it.
He needs that, and we all do. Everybody in the arts does. Right?
My wife gave me her credit card to buy something today, and I said, if it goes over a certain amount, do you want me to call you? She says, no, I trust your judgment. And I said, oh, no, you're not getting me with that. You better give me a dollar amount.
We have a question. We have a question from the chat room. Is it expensive?
But then she says, go ahead.
You got.
I trust. Then she says, I trust your judgment. You married me. And I said, see, now I can't argue with that. I can't.
Now you're in trouble.
She's fired. Get her off the show.
So the question is it expensive? In the early days, it was pretty cheap. It was like $100+ for a ticket. Today, tickets are about just under $500 per person. And that you can come in you can come in and be there for over a week, and the ticket covers your stay. But there's nothing to buy, nothing to sell out there. You bring everything that you're going to use, and then maybe a little bit extra so you can contribute to people. But it's all on you.
So the other question that we had from Sunshine, how high did you get? Because I was thinking I would be out there selling loose joints. I mean, the entrepreneur. There's none of that. No people like bringing in like vendors of contraband or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, I won't say that there's no contraband out there, but there is no sale of anything out there. There's no so the event is set up as a non-commodification event. So there's no buying, selling, or bartering. You can only give things away. It's called a gift economy. So what you do is if you're in a camp, you set up some kind of offering contribution to people that want whatever you have. So it's up to you. You can have a bar, you can have a performance stage, whatever you can think of, you can do it in your camps. Or if you as an individual want to be contributive to other people, you can you can give them trinkets or whatever, but there is no buying, selling, or bartering out there. It's just purely a gift economy.
Pretty weird. You would think, because almost everything gets corrupted by capitalism sooner or later. Things been going on since the 90s. You would think somehow somebody'd figure a way to. And listen, I'm not anti-capitalist. If that's how that comes up. It just seemed like if there's a way to make a buck, people will figure it out, right?
Well, it's an inclusive event, so people show up out there with. They may not be trying to make money, but there may be some infiltration. I'll give you an example. There was a group that offered to take people's bikes out there and have a bike for them on the playa, because you really need it. You can see how big it is. You need a bike to get around. So if you paid these folks a small amount of money, they would have a bike for you when you got out there, and you'd ride it for the week and then drop it off with them. They stopped that after a couple of years because it had the smell of commodification. There was a buying, selling aspect to what they were doing. Yeah. So even though their heart was in the right place and they were just trying to cover expenses, because it looked like buying and selling, they eventually stopped that.
All right. Coming back to the writing process here, writing characters. Did you base the characters off of people you knew out there, or did you invent the characters from wholesale, just from, out of your mind?
So every character in there has a piece of me in them, some of them more than others. There is one trans woman as of these 7 people, and there's a lot of me in her, but none of them are actually real people. So I'll give you an example. The first character you meet, Ruben, has just freshly gotten out of prison. And he literally 3 weeks later is on the playa and has this whole experience from being incarcerated and in this experience of being told what to do every day and suddenly being out in this place that was wild and woolly. I met that guy on the playa. I actually met a guy that had done that and was talking to me about his experiences. Now, the story that I developed around that is completely fictional, and that's true for all the characters, is they all have a piece of reality, but then I took that and I spun a fictional story. And the reason I did it that way is I wanted the person that read the book to have seen Burning Man from many different lenses, because every person that goes out there has a personal experience that is different, and they get something different out of that experience out there.
Yeah. So is it fair to say that I'm sorry here, but I'll just come. Is it a spiritual awakening type of moment, that kind of thing? But the problem I have with that is 20 years in a row. I mean, it has to have diminishing returns, right? The first time you go, oh, that was such an uplifting moment, an awakening moment, a Kundalini moment, all that kind of stuff. Kumbaya. And yeah, well, kumbaya. And then you go back to next year, it's got to be a little bit less, or maybe not. But are there ups and downs with that whole?
Okay, so it's a highly intense environment, and weather-wise, people-wise, event-wise, et cetera. There's just a lot going out there all the time, and most of it is unscheduled. It's just happens as it happens. So a very organic unfolding of just crazy things that happen out there that could only happen out there. So my first year was highly transformative. I shifted very much from somebody that was very closed off to somebody that was very open to being in community. But it took a week of being out there and battling myself and almost leaving a couple times before I got to that epiphany. Now, it's different for every other person that goes out there. Some people go out there and they were born for it, and they land out there and it's just a comfort place. For other people, it's a very out of world experience. So it's really dependent on the person. But you're right, there is diminishing returns. I've never had an experience like my first year out there, but I have built a muscle for being in community and how to be in community in a way that's positive for everybody. And that was a critical aspect of the book, is belonging.
I'm pretty shocked that I have not been out there, because I heard about it. It must have been when it was fairly new. And those kinds of things, I would probably be inclined to check out. And I'm certain at some point I wanted to. I'm just surprised that here I am. I'm much older now and still haven't done it, and really haven't. I don't know anybody personally close to me that has experienced that. It's pretty surprising, because I've had a lot of hippie type of experiences, doing these things that most people wouldn't do. So I don't really know about that.
It's a tough event to go to, because like I said, you have to take everything that you need. You have to be prepared in every possible way. So it's not a surprise, because you're in the inertia of your life. And to do this event, you actually have to do a fair amount of work to get out there and be prepared to be out there.
I walked Pacific Coast Highway thinking, because I didn't intend to walk. I thought you could hitchhike. I was young in California, and I thought there was hitchhiking, and it turned out nobody picks up hitchhikers out on the Pacific Coast Highway. I walked the length of it. It took me 3.5 days.
Wow.
So, you know what? That kind of, I'm used to that kind of, everything I have is all on my back and that kind of stuff. Sleeping in the ditch, if we could. So yeah. Yeah. So now, has the writing of the book been another transformation? Do you do you consider yourself an author now, and or is this your life's path now, authorship? Or
I loved learning how to tell a story. That it was one of my favorite things about the process, because the process itself was very difficult, and trying to figure out how I wanted to pitch this and what it needed to include. So learning how to tell a story has been very powerful. I do see myself as an author now. Right now I'm working on a work-related book, but then once I finish that one, I'm gonna come back and maybe tell a second year of Burning Man, or some other story that I can bring a lot of people together.
Well, if you do a business book, you're just going to reinforce those people and think this last one was a business book.
No, they're going to look at it and go, this is Burning Man. She's writing about Burning Man.
What?
Look at all the drug references in here.
Confusing the hell out of all of us here. So good for you. I mean, obviously this artist was and I consider authors a part of the artist community. Obviously this artist was in you all the time. Maybe you just weren't listening to the voice that said you're an author, but good for you. I'm glad you found that artistic outlet. I think everybody needs one.
It's kind of interesting, because the people I camp with are very artistic. We have a whole crowd that comes up. They're production folks from the movie industry and stuff. So bunch of very artistic people in that crowd, and I would always say, when people would say, what's your art, I would always say, oh, I'm the stage manager for all these people. But writing seems to be my form. It's how I express myself best.
All right. How do you go from writing like very straightforward business type stuff to letting yourself have that freedom to create characters and create fiction?
Well, it's a very different process. The process of writing a business-oriented book is providing concepts and concrete ways to deploy those concepts in the work arena. And so it's taking kind of geeky people through a process to get the things done that they need to get done. A good story is just a good story. Everybody that reads it will come out with a different, they're going to come out in a different place with a different set of ideas. So telling that story, one is, I certainly build a whole world out there that you get to experience, from walking and breathing and trying to sleep, et cetera, to have this experience, which you'll make your own in your head, because you're going to see something different in the writing than I would necessarily see.
Huh. Has anything about the publishing industry been a frustration for you? Because I feel like the publishing industry is what the music industry was in the 1960s. It's just so corrupt, even though it's not run like maybe that's a bad analogy, because in the 60s you had all these record companies that were just stealing from people. Now it's just one or two like major publishing houses. But even within the self-publishing industry and Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all these websites, it's just really corrupt in how they are gaming the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. Have you found frustration with that? And if so, how do you deal with it?
So because Burning Man is a non-commodification event, I didn't feel comfortable approaching big publishing houses, so I avoided all of that rigmarole. I went to a small independent publisher who kind of fell in love with the idea of what I was trying to create with this book. And so we ended up we've collaborated beyond just delivering this book, because we like how each other thinks and works. And he's been super supportive of this process. So my experience is unique, but I wasn't writing this book to make, best sales, et cetera, et cetera. I was writing it as a gift to people that are interested in Burning Man, whether they've gone or they haven't.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to encourage everybody listening to this to call their library and tell them to order the book, put it in the libraries. And I am cultivating a list of Canadian. I just learned this last week that Canadian libraries, if somebody in their community asked them to order a book, they're like compelled by law to put the book in their library. So everybody in Canada, call your local library and tell them to order Playa Dust. Playa Dust. I'm sorry. Anyway,
it's available now at Amazon, and most libraries and bookstores don't buy books off of the Amazon platform. They want to go through an organization called Ingram Sparks. It's basically a similar platform, but it's just for booksellers, etc. I haven't put it on Ingram Sparks yet because I found enough errors in the book after I published it that I wanted to fix them. That's almost done now, and I'll be loading it up into Ingram Sparks so that booksellers can buy it within the next 3 weeks or so.
That's something I've never considered before with self-publishing. You can actually unpublish it, go back and fix things and change things.
It's great.
It also adds value to like the original. Yeah, you can get the one with the mistake in it, and then it's a collector's edition, right?
Yep.
Very cool stuff.
Now, I have one question real quick. If this is made into a movie, who would you see playing the Burning Man?
Oh, that's a great question. Who would play these roles? So the Burning Man.
That's the question he asked, but no, that is a good question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Burning Man itself is just an effigy. And in fact, Burning Man refuses to assign any meaning to it because they want you to personally have your own meaning for why you go and watch it burn. But all the characters could potentially, be represented by somebody out there. I'm not sure who I would have play those. I hadn't even thought. I've thought about it. It could be a movie because it definitely has a sensibility to it that it could be made into a movie or a series. But who would play those parts? That's a great question.
Well, GD is overlooking the obvious here. He should have known that my father would play the Burning Man. My father burnt. So, but you know what? I asked an author about this last week because this is some about the roles in the book and who would play your protagonist and all that stuff, and got an answer that I had never gotten before. And he said, if this were made into a movie, I want somebody who was not a major star, somebody who this would be their breakout role. I was like, that's an unusual, because almost everybody does have a picture of who would play the protagonist or the main characters in some way. And he said, I would hope it would be somebody nobody ever knew before, and this would be their breakout role. That's an interesting way to look at it, because then people remember the story.
I think that's a great answer, because that actually it fits into the ethos of none of these characters are in a superior position. They're all kind of having their own thing, doing their own thing, interacting with each other throughout the book. And anybody could play those roles if they were the right person for it. I mean, the only person that I've ever thought in the book, there's one character that's half Native American and half white. And the
Cher.
I don't know if you've seen him in movies like Dances with Wolves, but Graham Greene always kind of appealed to me as the kind of guy that would fit.
Well, you had to dig him up for that, because I think he just recently passed.
Yeah,
he's too old now to play that character anyway, even if he was alive.
Wow.
But that's who I was thinking for that character. But the rest of them, I actually see them as I met them on the playa or wherever I met them.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm focusing too much on the trans stuff, but
it's part of it.
There's a physicist who I've been following lately, and I've been following his content to learn about physics. And he's a professor. I'm not going to name him, and I'm not talking about Feynman, because Feynman's dead. And he's been dead for 40 years. But this guy that I have been following, he is clearly transphobic. And he brings up trans people several times in the middle of a physics thing, and I'm like, I finally commented on his YouTube stuff. I was like, what is your obsession with trans people? And then the people that are following him started like abusing me, like, oh, look at the trans apologist, and like, well, I like, all I want to know is like, if you're going to get on your transphobic rant here, let me know and I won't watch it. I'm tuning in for physics stuff. So that's why I'm kind of asking about the trans stuff so much, because I'm going through a lot of trying to understand the hate and fear around somebody deciding this is how they want to live their life, because it doesn't really affect me. If the only reason to hate somebody like that is because in some way I'm afraid of something that they represent, and I can't figure out where that fear comes from. So that
I think it's that we trans people are, no matter what culture you come from, a taboo. Other than Burning Man, they didn't care at all. But in any other culture, trying or emulating a gender that you haven't been born into is questionable, but it's completely off base for a man to want to be a woman, because in our cultures, and you can see it playing out in the MAGA focus on trans people right now, is we threaten masculinity. And the thing that I've noticed is people that are most unsettled about what their gender is are the most reactive to trans people.
That's exactly where I'm coming from. If you are confident in your masculinity, trans people should make you feel more confident about your own personal masculinity. It shouldn't make you feel threatened about it.
I think there's a threat on two levels. One is you're making me question my own gender, et cetera, et cetera. And the other is I'm attracted to you and I don't want to be attracted to you. So that will, make me gay or whatever. And so there's a whole balled up set of things going on for people around.
All right. One last question, and then I'll leave the trans stuff alone, because I have a comedian friend who was a successful male comedian into his early 40s, then transitioned, and now for the last 20 years has been a trans comedian and known as a trans comedian. And to me, that's got to get old at some point. Like, I just want that period of the transition is over. Now I'm living the rest of my life this way. This is who I am. Does that get old? I mean, it feels like it has to get old, right? No?
I don't. So how do I put this? I have two tensions on that. Tension one is, can't I just get on and live my life? And there's a lot of trans people that are just fully in that boat. Don't bother me about this. I just want to get on with my life. The other side of it is, if you're a public figure and you can address it head on, you can diffuse a lot of stuff. And that's the beauty of comedy, is you can take truths and put comedy to it and have a whole different conversation and impact with people. Yeah. So yes, it can be wearing. My commitment when I transitioned was to be an ambassador. So to be open to talk to people about it, be willing to explore it. So it takes the mystery out of it. It takes the weirdness out of it. But not everybody's like that. I'm sure your comedian friend has made that choice. They're going to do that. Like Bill Burr's his thing is to be misogynistic. Your comedian friend's shtick is to use their transness to make comedy, which can be really powerful.
I feel in some way, and she might even be listening. So, and if she is, I'm not saying this to be mean or judgmental. I feel in some way she is exploited it, because she went on America's Got Talent, and they definitely exploited it. They played it up as, look, a trans, and that was the main focus. That's what they were using to sell it. And I feel like that you're doing a disservice to people who are going through this, is making it feel like it's a gimmick in some way. Now I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, but it does create awareness regardless, right? And then you can engage me out in the world and you'll have a real human experience with me. And that'll be another data point for somebody.
Yeah. I suppose. Listen, I'm glad you are so open and to discussing these things, because I think it's apparent I still have some wounds around this whole thing that I need to resolve, and it's been going on 30 years with me, because I've had some friends who have gone through it, and it has changed. In some cases, I've lost friends completely, like they're out of my life, and not because I was judgmental about it, because they presumed I would be judgmental about it. So I appreciate you having that conversation, and I wish you good luck with the book.
I figure other people's judgments are their judgments. I'm not going to carry them. I'll be Buddhist about it. That's for you to deal with.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing everything, and good luck with the book. And listen, when you decide to publish your next book, please do feel welcome to come back and have a conversation with us about that. This book is called Playa Dust in My Soul. It's available now on Amazon. The link is in the description. Our guest has been Sarah Marshall, and we will not forget you, Sarah Marshall.
It's very much a pleasure to talk with both of you today.
Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Bye for now. Sarah Marshall, folks, and the book and the website, both linked to in the description. Go there. Pretty cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah. I'm here.
I was being that's my Jose Feliciano impression. Do you like it?
Oh, okay.
I've been working on it. TD, are you still
Needs
there?
more work. Needs more work.
I don't know.
I loved. He was such a good guitar player. My God, he was good.
Was he born blind?
I don't know. I don't know if he died blind. I don't know.
I would think. Well, nobody gets unblind once they're blind, right? I don't know. I haven't.
People get operations. People get operations, and like cornea things and stuff like that.
Corneal things.
Yeah, corneal
things.
Yeah.
All right.
Matter of fact, Beavis and Butthead used to talk about that a lot. Corneal. My corneal.
Now, with Beavis and Butthead, they were off by the government and cloned.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. And we might as well just start rumors about everybody now, right? Being off by the government. Why would the government even want to off Jim Carrey? I mean, it's not like a radical activist guy, right? Or it maybe is.
I'm glad we got caught.
Cornholio. Oh, that's what Cornholio is. I want to tell people about who's on the show tomorrow, and I don't know. Do you know?
People.
Is it people or is it a person? I think it's just a person.
People who need people.
I am just terrible about this. Somebody just booked for December. I opened up the calendar for 300 days of December, and people are actually going. Why would you book that far in advance? It's crazy.
I have something occurring in my driveway, which is really giving me cause for alarm. Our driveway is about 200, 300 feet long, and it's a gravel driveway. And I don't even know if we'll ever have the money to pave it, but it's a gravel driveway. And when we first moved here 4 years ago, there was 4 spots that always sank in. You can put gravel in and it would just start to sink, like as a sinkhole underneath, and I don't know where it's going, because at some point it has to stop, right? But it's not. It no matter how many, I even filled it with concrete, and the concrete is now gone and it's sunken again. But it was always the same number of holes over the same period of time. But this past winter, instead of those few holes, now we have a total of like 15 holes, and they're sinking. And I'm thinking that my driveway it's just all in the driveway. It's not happening where we have grass and stuff. And it's not being washed away. The rocks aren't being washed away. It's just like divots. It's just sinking. The rocks are there. So that's what I'm having rocks chipped in so I can fill those 15 holes. I'm not going to try to gravel the whole driveway again.
Will you be singing the Beatles, I'm Fixing a Hole?
No, I'm going
Why
to sing
not?
there's a hole in my driveway, dear Eliza, dear Eliza. There's a hole in my driveway, dear Eliza, a hole.
Isn't that supposed to be a bucket or something, or a pocket, a hole in my? What is it? Hole in my? What is the hole in? There's a hole in something.
There's a hole in my buttocks, dear Eliza, dear Eliza.
Wow, I didn't really want to go there. There is though. There is. That's actually a fact. Tom Mitchell will be here tomorrow. Tom, handsome-looking guy. He's unlocking greatness in leaders and athletes. How about that? Former NBA Warriors sports psychologist. Remember, did you watch The Natural? I mean, I should ask that because there's so many movies we don't know.
Yeah, with Robert Redford. I love that movie.
All right, there's a point where they have like a hypnotist come in to hypnotize the team. I'm not going to take. I don't need a carny hypnotist. That's a sports psychologist. Like I'm going to get the team. I don't know. Do all teams have a psychologist? That's
you would think so, but I would think they need it more for when they get off the field. They can leave their aggression on the field instead of go home and beating their wives and kids.
So this is what
that's
I
the
need.
real problem with sports.
This is what I need. The sports psychologist, the founder of a winning sports coach, helping business leaders, athletes, and high-level performers discover their greatness. That's what I need to discover my greatness before I die, don't I? Do I have greatness? I guess everybody has greatness, and except me.
Well, I used to tell my little girl that everybody has a superpower, and my job as a dad is to find out what her superpower is and then teach her to use it for good.
He's a co-written book with Joe Montana. Joe Montana, San Francisco 49ers, Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Joe Montana
and if he hadn't worked with Joe Montana, Joe Montana probably would have had 6 rings instead of 4.
Who does he look like? He reminds me of somebody. I don't want to say Dylan Brody. I should show the picture of him, and you could tell me who he looks like. He reminds me of somebody. And I can't put my finger on it because I would get a smudge on it if I put my finger on it.
Yeah, don't touch the lens. It'll be.
Where is he? Is this him? Yeah. Oh, I think I know. Is it Sean Collins? Sean Collins, a Canadian comedian. I don't know. What do you guys? Does this guy look? Oh, you're not even seeing him.
No, it doesn't look like Dylan Brody to me at all.
How about that?
No,
He doesn't.
He looks like some white guy with glasses and white hair.
That's pretty generic.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody I know, or looks like everybody I know, including the black men, including the black women. He looks just like them too.
I'm thinking Sean Collins. Are you
I'm thinking Whoopi Goldberg.
You familiar with Sean Collins? He's fucking very good. Why is Sean Collins not? He's big in Canada. Everywhere I go.
Yes, he does. He looks like a young Glenn Beck.
No.
Yeah.
Glenn Beck had red hair when he was young.
No, I don't think. No, the face, the shape of his face, the shape of his face.
Oh.
And Glenn Beck's face was actually a little bit rounder, I think. It's hard for me to remember. My stepson used to listen to Glenn Beck.
Why would anybody ever listen to Glenn Beck? There are people who get famous, and I can't figure out, like, Glenn Beck. What was his? What was
I used to tell my stepson, and this is where it backfired, I guess. I said, look, I don't care what your politics are. His mother is an ultra liberal. My wife, like I said, if you go to Rachel Maddow and turn left, and then go to Tom Hartman and turn left, you'll find my wife left of them. That's how progressive she is. She is left of Tom Hartman and Rachel Maddow. She is that far left. Her son is, you make a right at Glenn Beck, and start heading towards Stephen Miller, and you'll find him somewhere in the middle.
See, I think Beck was just an opportunist. I don't think he was ever really committed to any ideology. I think he's always been about just being a phony son of a bitch. And I like to think of myself as a forgiving person, but he has gone to the well just one too many times with the I'm dying of I'm going blind. I'm dying. I have a incurable disease. I'm going deaf. Oh, this could be my last show. Listen, as a guy who was kids about dying all the time, I wish I would die, but I'm not here saying, feel sorry for me. I'm dying. I'm going blind. I will be blind in 6 months. He's done that like so many times. The people just let him off the hook. Whatever happened to you? We're going blind. It just never happened. It's like if I came out here and said, I got cock cancer. Cock cancer.
Again. Did you have that last year? I seem to remember you having cock cancer last year.
No. That was ass cancer, and I think ass cancer takes like 30 years to kill you.
Did it metastasize through your taint to get to?
I don't have cock cancer. That's not what I'm saying here. I said it would be. No, I don't have cock cancer, but I think I've come out and said this. People in my family, they milk that cancer. You know this. It's in my gene pool somehow. They are able to carry cancer around.
Yeah, your brother has like 9 different types. Your brother has like 9 different types of cancer, and they're like competing. They're competing against each other. It's like, no, I want the liver. I want the liver. I want the liver.
He's the Freddy Krueger.
Why can't you just have skin? Why can't you be happy with the skin? Why you got to come into the liver?
Yeah.
Why can't you share? The liver's big enough for both of us. But the skin is the biggest organ, and you got the skin.
Yeah. Yeah, but Becky's talking about Glenn Beck. I didn't know he was. I'm going back to the 1990s or something. He was, I think he was on CNN. This was before he was on Fox.
Right.
He was on CNN, the second CNN. They had like a CNN headline news or something.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
And he had a show on there, and that's where he announced he was going blind. Then he was on Fox, and he announced he was dying. He had some incurable disease, and he only had 6 months to live. Then he didn't pay his bill, and they gave him another 6 months. Then he consolidated, and it's been around. He's still around. And then
that's the joke that Henny Youngman used in Goodfellas,
right? And that's when Colonel Sanders called and said, "Why don't you just be me?" And that's who he is now, but without the chicken. Are they closing all the Kentucky Fried Chickens? Are they going out of business?
I don't know. I hope not. My wife really likes them.
Yeah.
But they don't have one close to us. The closest one to us is like a 12-mile drive.
They started closing them down around here years ago. So
yeah, same here. They closed one, but there was one like the next town over. We don't have one in Westminster. I think the next one is like in Manchester or something. We had to, and I still like, as far as combinations go, I like the Kentucky Fried Chicken combo where it tasted together with the Kentucky Fried Chicken, the mashed potatoes, gravies, and coleslaw. I like that combo. Now when I go to Popeyes, I like the chicken, red beans, and rice and coleslaw. But I like the KFC better than I like the Popeyes as far as the combos go.
Poor me. I've never been to Popeyes.
Extra crispy KFC. Love that.
Well, I just want to apologize to America and Canada and any place that actually might listen. I just put out misinformation. I just checked news. There's nothing about Kentucky Fried Chicken closing down. Did I have that would be fucked up. If I'm dreaming about or just imagining that there are news stories about all Kentucky Fried Chickens going out of business.
Well, I know we had one in Westminster and it's gone. The closest one to us, like I said, is like a good 25-minute drive, 25-minute drive. And now the Popeyes are still alive and thriving. And matter of fact, they opened up 2 more chicken places around here. One called Raising Cane's or something, which I thought was disgusting. And my wife says we need to try it one more time because when we went there, it was like the week they opened. And I told her, let's wait. I said, let's wait a week because the first week it's not going to be great. They're going to be working things out. Even though the recipe is, the recipe, people are still learning how to cook and stuff like that. And we went after a week and the service was terrible. The food was terrible. And I said, we don't need to go back. My wife says, we need to try one more time because there's always cars there. It's always packed. It's always busy. I said, those are just people. Those are just diehard people. We have a place called Firehouse Subs, I think. There's nothing special at a fucking Firehouse Sub, but the place is always packed because. And Mission, there's a place called Mission Barbecue. There's nothing fucking special about that place.
I have to address this. Becky says you had a dream where me, you, and GD got shut down at KFC because we ordered too many sides. I would never dream about you, Becky, because here's the thing. I'm afraid it would turn sexual, and I don't want to do that to you. I like you as a person, and I don't want to. I don't want to just denigrate you with me thinking about you in a sexual way. So I personally have the filters of women that who I don't want to dream about them. No, you're not.
I don't have any problems with those dreams, so it's okay with me if you want to dream that.
All right.
I don't have a problem with those dreams.
So, but you're not dreaming about me that way.
I'll never tell you. They're my thoughts. Why you trying to get inside my head?
I'm not. Just don't try to get inside anything else. That's what I'm saying. Speaking of chicken, okay, the chickens came back yesterday. Yesterday because it was 61 degrees. Yeah, they were all out, and they got fat. They got big. I mean, they're big birds. I guess staying locked up for all the snowstorms in the winter, they had nothing to do but eat. They weren't getting a lot of exercise. Oh my God, they're like big. So my wife was happy to. Oh, my girls are back. The ladies are back. Yeah. But
the girls are back, and it's going to be trouble. Cluck, 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 cluck.
You know what it means, though? It means I have to ask permission to leave my house. I'm not allowed to. Oh, the ladies are eating. I can't leave my house because there's chickens eating on. They're gonna run away if you go out there.
But they'll come back, right? They'll come
back. That's my point. Like, I have to be allowed to enter and leave.
Look. I have the same issues around the house with the stray cats. I can't. I don't. If they're on the deck sleeping, I can't go under the deck to get my lawnmower because I'll wake them up and they'll run away.
Becky says she will order too many sides. Like what? Corn on the cob and mashed potatoes. That's it, right? I mean, what sort of sides at KFC?
Coleslaw?
Coleslaw. Ooh, all right. Ooh. Not me. I can't do what coleslaw? It's just like weeds that they, right? It's just weeds that they put some.
No, it's got cabbage. It depends on who makes the coleslaw. Who makes the coleslaw? Who? Oh, sorry. It all depends on. Yeah.
Do you have cabbage farms near you? Have you ever been near a cabbage farm?
I guess. I mean,
You're better off just for. You would know. Believe me, you would know. You're better.
There are people who grow. I know there are people who grow cabbages around here. I don't.
No.
Corn and
cabbage. If there were a cabbage place, a farm near you, you would never eat cabbage again. You're better off living inside a sewage plant. That's how bad cabbage smells when it's getting ready to get picked. It's disgusting. I used to have one. I used to have to ride my bike past it when I was a kid, and it's just the worst. It's the worst smelling farms there are, and it's a pretty bad smelling pig farms. Like you go near a pig farm, oh my God, but cabbage worse. Cabbage and corned beef. Next week is corned beef and cabbage, and all these people will be like.
Now, Becky, have you ever had coleslaw with pineapple in it? I used to make my coleslaw with pineapple, crushed pineapple years ago.
Hawaiian coleslaw.
No,
Nat King coleslaw.
It was just coleslaw with crushed pineapple.
Cole Porter slaw.
And I used to use red cabbage in my coleslaw, and it would make the little juice turn pink.
Make the little juice turn pink. Make your little juice turn pink. So we have a couple minutes here, right? There's a couple minutes. No, we're over time. Yesterday on Twitter, I go on Twitter once in a while. You know that about me?
I didn't know. I did not know.
Rand Paul was talking about Fauci.
I thought you were going to say Mullen. I just knew you were going to say Mullen because Mullen thinks he's a shit. Mullen thinks that Rand Paul's a shit.
Oh, Well, he was talking about Fauci, and he's saying he wants to hold him accountable. And he said Trump protected Fauci and Biden protected Fauci and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what exactly? So I wrote back, what exactly would you want? What crimes are you accusing Fauci of? And somebody came back and said that, well, he was funding research, gain of function research, and lied to the American people about it, and was responsible for millions of deaths in America. It's like, and Trump and Biden are both had reason to protect that. Trump and Biden don't agree on anything, right?
Well, I think they both agree that I have to think about that one.
Well, they're both.
I think they both agreed that they shouldn't go to. They should not have gone. That Trump should not go to Jesse Jackson's funeral.
All right, that's fair. So I went to AI, which my stepdaughter says is actually the Antichrist. AI, and that's something else we could talk about. But what's the deal with all these accusations about Fauci? And AI said yes, he was known to have funded gain of function research long before the COVID pandemic came out. He was part of that, but it was done for research purposes. They weren't trying to weaponize it and all this kind of stuff. And all these, most of the allegations are just unfounded. There's no proof of any of this stuff. And I said that, I went to AI, and this is what it's telling me about it. Somebody says, laugh out loud, still believing Fauci is a good guy. And I never said, I don't know Anthony Fauci from shit. I don't know if he's a good guy. I just think people were really broken by this COVID thing, and they need somebody to blame for how broken they are. And he became the
and they
scapegoat.
should start with, as far as this country goes, they should start with Donald Trump.
Right.
He had noticed. He was warned, and there's even recordings of him saying he played it down because he didn't want his numbers to go bad. And yeah, so
right, they can't take that.
So
first.
Trump.
If Donald Trump and Fauci and that woman who was also part of his advisor, they were both hired by Trump. He would say, so if buck stops at the top, right? No, but they just like, they're never going to. This is like their Benghazi over COVID. They're going to be talking about Fauci 10 years from now, 20 years from now. We still got to get Fauci. He'll be dead. And they'll still be saying, we got to bring Fauci and subpoena him. He's dead. I don't know. It's just they can't get over it. The pandemic broke a lot of people. And so, what else did I forget. I said that was something else we could talk about, and I don't remember what it was. That's fine. I have dementia. Fine. Yeah, let's get out of here.
I just want to remind people to check out the new episodes of Done Way Past Funny with Randy Levin. It's on YouTube, and you go back and check out some of the previous interviews as well, like with Steph Stigma, who was on the show. Dan Rathman, he was on the show. Check them out.
Who's the Levin, the bad guy Levin, the radio guy? Mark Levin. Oh, they call him Levine, but it's spelled Levin. It's spelled Levin.
He doesn't have an E at the end?
I don't think so.
Oh.
He might. Well, we'll give him an E. Like Dr. Jelly Roll. Give him an E. The E is for end.
No, thank you for checking. Thank you for hanging out with us, Becky. And if I could be so bold, Becky, may I recommend that you walk around nappy?
me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me.